Now, I would like to introduce Amira Marzouk, a Forward Global Women board member, activist, and former member of the Tunisian parliament. Amira.
Thank you, Sandy. It's my pleasure to introduce two special ladies with various achievements, Professor Fatima Sadiqi and Mrs. Huda Abuarquob. Dr. Fatima Sadiqi is professor of Linguistic and Gender Studies, University of Fez, Morocco. She is the president of the Association for Middle East Women's Studies, the first non-American elected. Huda Abuarquob is the first on-the-ground regional director of Alliance for Middle East Peace. She has years of experience in conflict resolution, NGOs leadership, and social change, education, and activism. Please, the floor is yours.
Fatima and Huda, you're on.
Yeah, I am on.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello. Hello,
Okay.
everyone. Fatima, do you want to start, please?
Yeah, okay. You start, Huda, no problem.
Okay. Masal Khair from Hebron, the West Bank. My name is Huda Abuarquob, and I'm the regional director of the Alliance for Middle East Peace, and I am a proud member of Forward Global Women. And it's an honor for me to share this platform today with Dr. Fatima Sadiqi, who's one of my mentors and my heroes, actually, heroines, in studies that has to do with women empowerment. Today, we will be introducing two young Palestinian women to you. One is from Jerusalem and the other is from Gaza. I'm so proud to introduce both of them to speak to you about their experiences as women who grow up under the occupation, but yet has shown a lot of resiliency, has shown a lot of work to overcome that mentality of victimhood. And instead of just giving in to despair, they brought a lot of hope to themselves and their communities. Fatima Sadiqi is going to speak to you now, and then we will have questions for our two amazing women who are speaking to us tonight. Fatima?
Okay, well, I am very happy to co-moderate this panel. Thank you very much, Huda. I am really impressed by what you have achieved, Nivine and Majd. And I wanted to know more about how you got there, how you became leaders. What was the path? Just in very simple words, how would you, if you go back, I know that when one looks back to what one has done, it's not always easy to do it, but it's good to listen to young women looking back. It's, I think, a very good exercise. What is it that led you to be a leader?
Thank you, Fatima. And we will start with Nivine. I know, Nivine, I'm putting you on the spot, Habibti, but I know you can do it. Just in few words, women inspire women. What inspired you? On whose shoulders you are standing? Tell us the story. We're hungry for it.
Sure. So first of all, good evening, everybody, and good morning to those who are joining us from the United States and other places in the world. Thank you so much for hosting me today. I feel privileged to be talking to such inspirational women, Dr. Fatima and Huda as well. And that's part of the inspiration, basically. I think to answer your question, Huda, we have to, first of all, consider life, as circles. So if we, for example, look at our smaller circle, the most intimate circle that we have, usually it's our mothers and our grandmothers. And those are the ones who actually inspire change in us. It's either as a woman, they have an option to oppress us, or they have an option to give us our freedoms and to inspire us to do more. For me, my mother definitely was a role model for hard work and being genuine and passionate about what you do. If we grow a little bit further, you know, in our life, it's the school, it's the female teachers specifically that always try to motivate us to think, to ask questions, to break the norms that that in such a patriarchal Middle Eastern society we have. And then later on, if we once we, you know, graduate from university and we start our careers, it's those women who we come in contact with. Yani, for example, I can say that Huda specifically is an inspiration to me. I look up to her, and of course, all the different women who make this feminist global movement, if I might say. But at the same time, I'll have to say that as a woman, it's really important to read and to know of the achievements of women throughout history. You hear of women from India, you hear of women from the United States and facing racism and discrimination in the United States. You hear of women scientists. You constantly feel inspired by those women who broke broke the mold, if I can say it, like, and basically achieved something for themselves and also their societies as well.
Can I jump in, Huda, there before we go to Majd?
Please, please do.
Yeah. Nivine, splendid, really good. Now, but consciously, what, I'm going to take you back to our MENA region. We have specific characteristics. We have a specific patriarchy. And we all know that. So this word leader, did it mean anything to you early in your life, or is it something that you learned to become? And if so, when were you consciously aware that you were a leader? Because you are. Sometimes, I'm thinking of myself, it's not always easy to say, I am a leader, my generation, but your generation. When was it, when did it become evident to you that you were a leader? What prompted that? That's I'm really interested to know about that.
I know, that's actually a tough question, you know that.
Yeah, I know. Well.
No, actually, I think it's a little bit difficult to answer that question because I do things coming out of passion, out of a vision, and out of, you know, this belief that I have the capacity to change the situation to a better one. I seriously do the things without thinking I'm doing it to become a leader or I am a
Wonderful.
leader. It's only, you know, when people say that to me, they flag it out, I'm like, okay, maybe, but I do it not because I want to be a leader. I do it because this is the change that I want to see, you know?
That's a great answer. Yeah.
It's an honest one, you know?
It is authentic.
Thanks for asking it.
Great. So, Majd Habibti, the first question goes to you. You inspire, and I am sure that you had inspiration from other women around you. And in particular, Gazan women are so strong and so resilient and so creative. A huge shout out to all the women in Gaza, and you are one of them. On whose shoulders you're standing?
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I really like your energy as usual, Nivine. So glad to be on the same panel with you, Dr. Fatima, and you, Huda. Like, it's always great to be with you. What always inspires me is people. Like, I grew up in a community that lacks everything. Like, you need to fight to get the basic things that people have for granted outside of Gaza. And, you know, they always, like, I always hear the word that, oh, this is a reality. You should say yes. You should accept it. This is how it is. If you don't like it, you will die. If you like it, you will live. So I grew up with a sense of, so if this is a reality, so why do people smile? If this is a reality, so why do people fight and what they are fighting for? I had a huge confusion inside myself by asking myself, like, how the world outside looks like. If people are smiling here despite all the bad conditions and bad life conditions, and like honestly, like everything in our, like you have to advocate for everything in your life. This is how I spent 27 years of my life. And while at the same time, like in the same time, you can find that other people are just, you know, smiling and they keep moving in the life. Like, why you don't die if you are suffering? Why you don't cry? Why you are smiling? Like, this really drove me crazy. Like every single person in Gaza, if you look at their faces, they would smile. So Infusion inspire me to help these people to make these smiles not fake smiles but real smiles, and to change these hard conditions to a better one. I'm not saying we can like change the life 100% or 180 degrees, but we are trying to plant the seeds so other people in the future and the next generations would keep, you know, putting water on it and take care of it so it gives out a lot of great fruits. So my inspiration comes from those people. And of course, add to that my mom, who got married in the age of 17, and she kept fighting, Huda, like literally she kept fighting. She went to college, she did her master's in law, and she was one of the first women who worked in the family court, just, you know, standing by other women's cases who wanted to get divorced or who they wanted to have their own and basic rights. And so through my mom's journey, I learned so much about what does it mean to be a woman in Gaza and how does it look like. And on the top of that, like, you know, it's also, it's like my community, like my friends, my female friends who always tried to support me. They used to call me the dream girl, because, you know, the word
Wonderful.
that I had on my tongue always, it was like, I have a dream, I wanted to achieve my dream. So they called me the dream girl.
Yeah.
Habibti, you are a dream girl, and shout out to all the mothers, the free, liberated women, mothers who raised you all. Fatima, do you want to ask the question?
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, I was carried away, but listening to Majd, you beautifully express all this, and you answered some of the questions I had floating in my head. But I mean, keeping with that, I see, so from suffering, you smile. You remind me of one of Forward Global Women's heroes who passed away. That's Huda Abuarquob. She always was very helpful, and she really capitalized on smile. And you used the word smile, whatever, and then people react very. So do you see yourself as a leader? Or is it, do you want to keep being challenged to become a better person? Because I want to make this very clear, because I belong to the region, and I also had, I mean, to many glass ceilings, like all of us. So is there a point where you say, well, that's it, I really achieved this leadership? Or is it that you find yourself at times trying to like ignite something like what you are explaining in other people? It's good to be honest about things. We are very relaxed here. Yeah.
Sure. Well, like I will echo what Nivine just said. Leaders don't know that they are leaders unless they are in possession that drives them to be leaders. And then they lead, and they don't call themselves leaders. By default, others would come, oh, yeah, what you are doing great. I think you're a great leader. Like I've never left Gaza before 2017, Fatima, never. And when I left for the first time, it was the time when I discovered my limits, when I knew what can I do for this world and what can I do for my people. I've never said it's enough, and I don't think it's gonna be enough, because as long as we live under occupation, as long as we live under a lot of struggle, as long as we live in this open air prison, there is always a challenge to solve. Okay, so it's never enough. Like, I've launched my first company, and it drove me to launch my second company, and then it drove me to launch several initiatives for women and young people in Gaza, just because there are so many things to solve. Okay, and if we want to give it a bigger vision, it's not only Gaza. Like, there are so many communities around the world that they need your solutions to replicate it and make, like, to help them to overcome their challenges. So if someone at some point says, oh, this is enough, I think I reached my limit, it means that this person, since the beginning, he's not capable enough to be a leader. Okay,
Yeah.
Leaders they are the ones who have no limits. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep solving problems, and they are nominated to be not only leaders for their communities but leaders for the world. This is how I consider leadership. I don't know if I'm the leader who's gonna solve several issues worldwide, but what I know that I have so many potential. I have a lot of potential to solve so many issues, and I will keep doing it. Like now I'm speaking to you from Saudi Arabia, okay? Not even from Gaza. And the reason why we came here and why we launched our company in Saudi is because we know that our potential is larger than this small area in Gaza. So we
Wonderful.
came here to this bigger community to solve other issues and to build a regional company that's headed by Palestinians, especially by a woman. So, and also one point is leaders are born to be leaders. Like I think leadership skills are not learned by of course you learn extra things by by going through different experiences, but leadership is a sense inside the person who cares about others. Like sometimes I can't sleep at night because I know that someone needs help and I can't help. And I'm not speaking about myself, I'm just talking generally. Like when you feel the people, it means you are the leader. When you don't feel the
Amazing.
people and you feel the business, you are a boss. Okay, so this is the difference.
Excellent. You are amazing, both of you, because you come from authenticity, from responsibility, from responding to needs rather than being in just busy with how a leader looks like. Being an authentic leader in your community, whether you recognize that or acknowledge it, or the surrounding acknowledge it. What does it take to be that leader, and what keeps you going? Every day you are met with challenges that can put you down. What keeps you going? What is it that makes you the people who you are?
Yeah, very good.
Nivine.
I was thinking about that. So, okay. So I think for me, first of all, what keeps me going right now is the fact that I'm a mother. So the fact that I want a change, a better future for my son and the other kids, of course, is what keeps me going. It's this need that the younger generation is going to live a better life and not face the difficulties that we had to face as a generation that grew up during the first intifada, that had to study in university during the second intifada, and seeing all this conflict around us. It's that need that my kid, and of course his generation, lives a normal life. What is normal? And the other thing is going, I think, to a little bit wider than that. I am very passionate about rights and human rights and equality and equity. So I don't know, but whenever I see something that is kind of not fair, something is triggered inside of me, and I need to do something about it. Which makes you, as Majd said, you don't stop. You all the time recognize you have a new capacity, new ability, and you always want to build on that furthermore. And you take different opportunities and you link things together simply because you have a vision of the future and how things should look like for the future. So you're trying your best to achieve that vision as well. So I think this is what keeps me going.
Nivine,
Excellent.
yeah, very good. Now, this vision, sometimes it's not what we hope for. Sometimes, I mean, this is life. So, are you hopeful about it? Do you keep hope? Because I mean, this vision, it's good to have a vision. How can you dreams? You mentioned them at the beginning, but do you at one point think about what if this doesn't happen? Like, do you foresee possible challenges, bigger challenges? Now your generation is a generation of plan B and plan C and what have you. Do you have are you ready for things that you are not expecting? I don't know how to put it, but I'm sure both of you understood.
Well, I think, to be honest and truthful here, there have been moments when you question the work that you do. There have been moments when you say, this is not worth it anymore, nothing is going to change. There has been moments when your work is being attacked by your own people around you. especially as a woman, not a man, a woman who is breaking and challenging both patriarchy and the hard political situation at the same time. So definitely there has been such moments. And I think that we remain hopeful, not because we remain hopeful because we are surrounded by people who have the same vision, by people that empower us and make us feel stronger.
That's
for
good.
me, my friends, my family, the community that I work with, we empower each other and we support each other, and we constantly remind each other that this change is possible.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
even when we have those moments that, okay, that's it, it's hopeless.
Yeah.
Like, what happened a year ago with the whole American administration plan and the deal of the century. And, that made us think of things differently.
Yeah.
But that did definitely, there was a moment when we said, okay, it's not working anymore. But then we still, came together and said, let's think about it in a different way. Hope still exists. But what is the new vision that we're going to do? So that there's constantly kind of a revisiting of our vision as well, and strengthening each other.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah. Is it the same with you, Majd? But in the face-to-face with challenges or possible challenges, what happens to Majd?
Well, let me, can I just go back to the point when Nivine discussed about what keeps us going?
Yeah.
It's faith.
Good. What do you mean by that? If I may, sorry if I jump. What do you mean by that?
I mean, if you believe in something,
okay,
you will never, ever give up on it. Like, I've been in so crazy situations, Fatima, interrogation, investigations, locked in the border for 12, 15 hours. Now I'm in Saudi and I cannot even get my residency permit because I'm a female Palestinian, okay?
Yes.
I'm going through so many different things from, because of my identity, because of, because where I came from, like Gaza or the West Bank, you know what I mean? Like these different that, like, you have a pressure from the community as a woman, and you have pressure from the Arab community, not only the Palestinian.
I know, yes.
And you have a pressure because of your identity, like on the top of that. So, but I had moments when I felt I'm burning myself. Like a week ago, I was just screaming in the street and crying in the middle of the night, and people were just walking around me and like, can we help you? Because I lost my mind. Like I was like, why everything is so complicated in my life? And then when I went back home, I was like, yes, I believe what I'm doing. It doesn't matter what they do. We will keep going. We just keep going.
Yeah.
So if you believe me, if you believe in something, you make it happen. Like it doesn't matter how long it takes, it will happen.
Well, you are a leader. Yeah, for me, I mean, that's leadership. Yes, Huda, sorry, I monopolized it.
No, Habibti, no, at all. You both of you are women who have challenged many systems around us in order to be the full liberated human beings that you feel you are. You cannot give up because it's a luxury that we cannot actually afford. We need hope in order to continue. What makes your leadership style different from the other styles around us? Look at the world. Look at how men are ruling in the world, and nothing against the men. Unfortunately, I like them. But for some reason, they are not doing their job. What would be the thing that women should or would do differently if they lead?
Okay.
Well, so many different things. Well, in my opinion, I want to be honest. Like I've been through experiences where women were great in leadership, and I've been through experiences where other women were like terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, but
that's
then,
true.
Yeah, but then when you look at the ones who are in good leaderships and they have good leadership skills, what we need to do is to empower them. To surround them. Like I always say, there is no successful woman without men beside her and behind her who get her back. Like even in my company, like I'm the only woman in my company, but I'm telling you, like the men in my company are super supportive. Like they're supporting me technically in management. They support me like I won't make a success in the company unless I have them in my company.
That's
So
very good.
we always need both, but it doesn't matter. It's not about just having only women or only men. We need them both together in the right places.
Absolutely.
This is
Nivine?
very well said. Yeah, yeah. It's very good. I mean, it's true that I mean we sent in this question, but now we are getting into many, if you want, different, very interesting itineraries of you. Now, before we go on, if you take a deep breath and
Can
say,
Fatima, can
Yeah.
Nivine answer the question about leadership?
okay, so sorry, yeah,
It's fine.
No, it's
Totally
okay.
fine.
It's okay.
it's good to have
It's
two
a very
moderators.
interesting discussion. It's okay. So I think first of all, for me, I fully agree that looking in our country and our context specifically, it's difficult to find leaders. How do we even define the word leaders?
Yeah.
Those that are connected to their community, those that are connected and understand the reality and want to, let us say, improve the situation of the people that they represent. And for me, unfortunately, I look around and it's difficult for me to recognize a single leader in my, country. But if I look globally, I see many women that I aspire to be like them one day, hopefully. Chancellor Angela Merkel, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Kamala Harris. So you've got all these women that worked so hard, and they actually showed that once a woman is in a leading position, the community changes. I mean, one simple example, how the Prime Minister of New Zealand dealt with the COVID-19 crisis versus other leaders in the world, and Angela Merkel as well. Both of them were able to get relatively smoother through the process and relatively quicker than other countries as well. And I think for me, as I look up to them, these are the women I believe that as a role model for leadership. And I hope one day we will have someone like that, whether it's a man or a woman.
Appreciate your answers, both of you.
Yeah.
And I do actually believe that our history is full of women who led, but not necessarily took the podium and spoke about it.
Yeah.
We are led by women who are around us, leading us with empathy, leading us with passion, with freedom, giving us everything they can in their fiber in order for us to move forward. And one of these women, or two of them that I want to recognize, is Sitna Khadija, who was the first woman to believe in Muhammad, who came to her shivering, asking for her guidance. She stood by him. She told him this is the right thing to do. He was the first to believe in his message of social justice and equality. And no one gives her any credit for what she did.
She was
and then the other woman is Maryam, Sitna Maryam, who God chose her above all women and gave her all the power in the world. And she led with faith and passion. She stood against everything in her community that said that she is not fit for. And I see women in Palestine and in Israel and in the world on daily basis do what you both are doing. I cannot have more respect for women like you than what I have now. Fatima, do you want to ask?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Huda. It's very important. It's also important to know that the long history of the MENA region is full of women leaders. Just a recognition problem. They're not recognized as such because of patriarchy. This is not the time to go into that. But it's good that your generation is bringing out, you are doing something that we couldn't do, for example. So there is a continuation. I think, maybe, yes, get inspired by these women. I agree with you, but also, I mean, knowing that the society is different. We don't want to be like Western society. We want things to be ours. And I'm sure that we will reach there. Now, the question I had is different. I was starting by saying that you just take a deep breath. This is just a curiosity question. Are you interested by writing your life story?
I'm already doing this.
Yeah, you have already started?
Yes,
Oh,
I'm writing. Well, you know, when you go through a lot of things and you know that this story would be super helpful for other women in the future,
you
because
write it.
in my journey, like I was looking for a role model in my community. Like it's great, you know, to learn from Kamala Harris or like other great women, but you need someone who live like your conditions,
Yeah.
who could go through what you're going through. I could not find one single woman. So I decided from that moment to start writing the moments, the turning points in my life, and you know the things I'm going through in my journey. So hopefully in the future I can just publish it so other women would read it and know, yes, I'm not alone. Someone else has been through a lot of things like me.
That's wonderful. Yeah. If you are able to write your own story, that's really one step further in the ladder of leadership. I salute you. Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Nivine?
I do have thoughts about it once in a while, but I think that so this is the thing. Maybe I should stop doing it, but it's kind of like saying that no, I didn't achieve something great yet. I need to wait. I need to wait for that next big thing, the next big thing, and then, you know. So it's kind of like whatever I do is not enough or is not good enough for me. So I look at it and say, okay, what if I write it? But then, is this what I really want to be highlighting, or is it something bigger than that as well? But definitely the thought crosses my mind. I do encourage a lot of other friends to do that, because I believe that their stories is actually much more inspiring than mine. So
don't say that. It's just, sorry to interrupt there, but it's just that leadership is an ongoing process. Writing your biography does not mean the end. This is an old concept of it. When you write about yourself, it means that you just, there is something behind it. Either you want to other people to know, because this is an age where you have to also show your credentials. This is what I did. This, as Majd said, maybe you can also trigger other women to support you there. Yeah, but thank you very much, both of you. Yes, Huda.
I think it's important to amplify stories of women, and I think these stories should be in their own words. I believe I want to create a project that is in her words. Women speak their truth to the entire world. We are always shy of that. This is part also of that our bringing, but also because we are selfless people. Women are not selfish. They are not seeking fame with no grounds. But it's important to amplify and show and give voice to the voiceless. The world is full of stories of women. Some of them are in refugee camps now around us in the world. That we need to bring their stories up. And we need to unite our efforts with other efforts around the world in order to give a space for women to have a voice. You've given so many women voices tonight, both of you. So proud of you. Cannot say anything but God bless you, or light bless you, whatever you believe in. Keep going and keep extending hands to other women in order to shine the way you are shining. Thank you.
But before we let these young women go, just very briefly, what advice would you give to aspiring women?
You can go
just one sentence.
I keep going first.
Okay.
Go first, yalla. Majd, yalla.
Thank you.
Well, just spontaneously.
Yeah, but Huda, thank you so much. Like really, Huda and Fatima, you came in the right time. Like I need someone to tell us like what we are doing is right. Just keep moving. That's why I really wanted to join the panel. The only advice I would give to any woman: don't give up. Okay. Like honestly, like it doesn't matter how much you go through. You one day, if you will keep moving, you will arrive. If you stop, you will never find your destination.
That's good. Thank you. Yes.
I think for me, I will second that, but also add the sky is the limit. I mean, as a woman in the Middle East, I recognize that we live in a patriarchal society with lots of norms and lots of traditions that we have to respect, and somehow they limit us from reaching, you know, our potential. And we also, specifically in Palestine, live under a very unique political situation. We're still occupied, so that puts another level of difficulties on us as women. But I think that we need to believe in yourself. The sky is the limit, and you know, don't stop learning. Basically, whatever opportunity comes along for you to participate in meeting new people, in reading, in traveling, and you know, participating in different events. That's how we grow as humans. But that's also when we recognize there is no limit.
Well, I salute both of you, and I join Huda in really thanking you, and continue shining. You are an inspiration for me now.
This has been a wonderful dialogue between the four of you, and we do have some questions from our attendees, and I think all of you could really address these questions from both the, you know, from all of your wisdom that you all have. The first one is from Salua. How can we apply shared leadership? I mean, to make the individuals in the workplace leaders as well. I know there was some reference to that, but perhaps several of you could elaborate. Shared leadership.
Majd?
Yes. Well, I don't understand fully the concept of shared leadership. So does it mean like how someone can share the leadership skills to other people?
Yes. Yes. Encourage other people to be leaders with you.
It's communication. Like we need people to communicate. Like before leaving Gaza, I was living in this small area where the only people I've seen in my life are the people who I was born with. You know, just to see the same faces, you speak the same language, you eat the same food. And then when I went outside and I started meeting people, like women like me, I was so inspired, and it really helped me and elevated my level from 0 to 100. Just I felt I wanted to do more, not only like them, like I wanted to do more than they've done. So we need people to communicate.
Yeah.
I think for me, I will add to that and speak a little bit about my own experience. I think I was surrounded by women leaders, including Huda, who's with us on this panel.
Good, Huda.
To give that example, you know, it's the fact that we give each other, first of all, communication, as Majd said, but it's also about inviting each other to join in a process, inviting each other to listen to each other, to give that space for each other to have your voice heard from woman to woman. Because as I mentioned previously, sometimes the women themselves oppress each other. They oppress other women. And as if you want to speak about transformative leadership, that's when we actually, as women, need to give that space for other voices to join in the process as well, to listen to their opinions and maybe also make them lead the process as well. I mean, that was my personal experience, and I sure hope that I'm doing the same with other women as well.
Thank you. That really answers Hajar's question as well. Sharon has a question. She says, I'm inspired by Majd and Nivine. I hope these two women would be willing to work with those of us in Israel, such as Women Wage Peace Movement, who care about their problems and want to try to solve them together. They need peace, and we also need peace. Would they be willing to work together with women, Arab Palestinian women, and Jewish women in Israel?
I mean, maybe because our bios. So for me personally, this is exactly what I do right now. I work with like-minded women and men from both sides of Palestine and Israel, but also regionally with peers, to actually end the conflict as well as achieve rights to different people that live in the region. So definitely, yes, I'm on board 100%.
And Huda, maybe you want to address that as well.
Well, absolutely. But this is one way to survive being in a conflict zone, is to engage, engage, engage. And engagement means learning and changing. And this is the theory of change I believe in, especially working with women in Israel. Because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, we are both losing our loved ones to this conflict. And if we really want to change these dynamics, it's about time for us to take charge. It's about trying to be the ones who are calling the shots rather than shooting people.
Sure.
We did have a question for Majd. Majd, about when you tell your story, what will be some of the issues that you focus on in terms of your career and your accomplishments?
Well, I would focus on freedom. What does it mean to be free? And is it a physical freedom or a mental freedom? Because again, until I left Gaza, I was just thinking that freedom is about like being physically free. And then I figured out that there are so many people around the world who live in a prison, although they have the great passports, they can just travel everywhere. And the second thing I would focus on is identity. What does it mean to have no identity, like no country? Like how is your life would look like if you have no country that you belong to?
Habib, you are my country, Majd.
Oh, you are my country.
We still have a few more minutes before our time is up. So I would be interested in hearing from Nivine about what your current work is. What are some of your current projects?
Oof, that's a lot. So I'll start. First of all, because I'm very passionate about peace building. So I work with an organization working with different peace building organizations to try to support them in planning their projects. But that's as a career, because obviously in order to be able to pursue your passion, you need to fulfill your first economic needs. Yeah. So it's kind of something that I like, but also fulfills that need. Now, for me, for my passion to actually change, so on a volunteer basis, I run an organization in Jerusalem that specifically deals and talks with Palestinian rights in East Jerusalem, civil rights and political rights. At the same time, I'm trying right now with another regional organization to bring, like-minded leaders, emerging leaders from across the Middle East and North Africa together to have a vision of 2030 for the Middle East and the region. And on a very, kind of like new mentality and way of thinking. So if you actually want to be people politically engaged, they should also be economically empowered. So right now I'm starting with colleagues of mine and another business project, trying to empower farmers specifically in the field of agriculture and business. So, and doing the usual, the advocate for the cause.
Yeah.
And Majd, tell us a little bit about your current work, your current projects.
Yeah, so I'm now heading a company called Sandbox that we founded with other couple co-founders in 2017 called Sandbox. And the reason behind launching Sandbox is to create access for underprivileged communities in the Middle East to get access to good affordable solar solutions. We started this company by focusing on the Gaza market because it's the most needy market and it's the market that's calling for help, where people there live under 3 to 6 hours of electricity per day. We launched the company in 2017. Now we are in 2021. We've worked like on the whole Palestine. We've worked in different sectors, in the solar sectors, providing tens of thousands of people in Gaza with solar energy. We've worked also in the water sector, providing desalination plants with solar systems. We've worked in the health sector, in education, and also we've supported a couple of startups, and we've implemented and funded a couple of events and conferences in Gaza for social entrepreneurship. Now we scaled up to Saudi Arabia. So we've launched our company here. We are kicking off this by having the team finally landing into Saudi 2 days ago. That's why you can see me all the time in a car, just going from place to a place to check the sites. And we've also launched our mother company in the UK. We look now to work not only on underprivileged communities, but also privileged communities, providing on-grid solar solutions, working directly through B2G, business to government, And then we look, hopefully, if we will be successful in such a market, to support other unprivileged markets by providing cross-subsidization for the solar solutions like Yemen, Jordan, refugee camps in Jordan, refugee camps in the West Bank, hopefully in the future. So the vision of Sandbox is to provide access to solar energy to all unprivileged communities, hopefully in the Arab world and in the Middle East.
Do you think you could help us in, Majd, do you think you could help Texas?
I think I can help with what?
Texas.
Texas.
Call me. I'm a flight
Their
away.
entire grid shut down.
Oh my goodness. Okay, you need affordable.
And Morocco also, we have we have developed a very good sector on the solar system.
Yes, but
So
in Saudi, it's very new.
Yeah, it's very promising.
Yes, but
Majd, you said the magic word, social entrepreneurship, and I think this is now the capacity that we want to build within youth communities, especially women community in conflict zones, but all over the world also. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Huda. Well, we are trying to address this concept in different aspects. Like I give a lot, as Nivine mentioned, like we do a lot of voluntary work, providing courses, online sessions for women in Gaza and outside Gaza. But Breed Sandbox, I've launched a company that called Green Cake to produce building blocks out of ashes and rubble of the demolished houses in Gaza, which is a patentable idea that was awarded a couple of prestigious awards, most recently the Muhammad Ali Award from Muhammad Ali family in Kentucky. And before that, the MIT and the Emirates Energy Award from His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum.
Very proud of you, Majd. Very proud of you.
Yes, and Majd talks quite a bit about that in her TED Talk, if people want to Google to find it.
Please.
There's lots of comments about how you make us proud and you have our support and your stories are a real inspiration from the audience. I do have a final question, and then we'll hear some final comments from our board president. And maybe you're welcome to pass on this question. It's from one of our USA attendees. What do you think will be the effect or the difference of the Biden administration on politics in the Middle East?
Oh, well, actually, it will affect. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, let's start by this. I mean, just, Biden being elected, President Biden being elected, I think it kind of like, first of all, Palestinians were able to breathe. Because with the deal of the century, it seemed like a two-state solution was doomed, and like it's not going to happen. But right now, with the election of Biden, first of all, you can see that the Palestinians already resumed relationships with the American administration. They're already asking to resume negotiations. Elections are going to happen in Palestine. Since 2006, we only had one election. So now this is very hopeful. And I think it's all because of this change in the American administration and the way they actually view the Palestinian cause. Because previously it was kind of like we didn't even exist. And it was actually very humiliating as a Palestinian to see how the American administration was treating us. And
but
now
I think
it's totally different.
It's also amazing. It's also depending on us, Nivine and Majd. This administration is going to be busy. It has internal issues up to their head. And unless we get them engaged in a way that brings their attention to this conflict and other conflicts in the world, I don't think we should just only rely on them coming to us. And multi-track is important, just like the idea of Forward Global Women, which is an amazing organization that brings women from all over the Middle East and the United States. I think it's important to start thinking of multi-track intervention in conflict zones.
But that the change doesn't come from the window, it comes from here.
Yeah.
So we believe in the change.
Yeah, absolutely.
True.
Thank you so much for your comments and your amazing dialogue. Now I would actually like to introduce, for final comments, one of my co-founder and president of the board of directors of Forward Global Women, an activist, former deputy mayor, Rina Bartal. Rina, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Hi, Huda. Hi, Fatima.
Hi.
Hi, Nivine. Hi, Majd. It was a real pleasure to sit here in my little room and listen to young women leaders. I'm very proud of you. Like Professor Fatima and Huda, I really salute your stories. And I salute you as young women. Many years ago, it's about 30 years now, I started my political career and I became a deputy mayor in my town. And I'm looking at this now, at this webinar and all these women that are participating. And I'm saying to myself, in the language that you said, I think it was Majd that said, what you're doing now is right. It's just the right thing to support us. If I had that support 30 years ago, I can assure you, I would have reached a higher position in my political life. It was a time where women did not support, not enough women supported women. So I think we have made a change, and I think you are here to show that the change is here. It's not coming, it's here. And I took some key words from what you both said. You talked about faith. You talked about just keep going. You talked about having men and women rule together. I won't get into that now. I'm sure I totally agree with you. History will show. Maybe we'll discuss that in 10 years if it works or not. I certainly have my opinion on that. You talked about leadership style. Yes, definitely. Women have a completely different leadership style. You brought all the right examples. And I think you too are the future examples. I think you're here to lead in each one, in your country, in your community, in your world, to lead in a different language. Now, language is not always Arabic or English or French. A language of leadership, you know exactly what it means. So I think you are very, very correct examples of how this can be done. And at the end, you both said, Nivine said, the sky is the limit. That's something that I've used throughout my life about everything, not just about leadership. So yes, the sky is the limit. And I'm repeating what Majd said, that what you're doing is right. Just keep going. Yes, many times we find ourselves being a minority wherever we are. We are women, we are in a minority. Many times we are young. Many times our religion is different from wherever we're sitting, whoever we're sitting with. All these obstacles, I find that men have a better way to cope with them. And I think we are learning through experience and through the power that we receive from all these women that you mentioned as role models. Today, there are many more role models than were before. And I think you're part of role models now. You've achieved what you've achieved. You still probably have a way to go because you aspire for more, and that's perfect. We must never forget the two ends, the younger women and the women that look at us to continue their lives, for us to improve their lives, not necessarily them as leaders, not necessarily them as leaders, them as a community. And I'll end by saying that for many years, throughout the years, I've always had this issue with women. Some of them wanted to become leaders. Some of them wanted to be involved in political life and in changing the world. And others, about 50% of them, didn't. And I've always said, that's fine. Not all of us need to be leaders. Sure. Not all of us need to say that the sky is the limit. Not all of us have to aspire to anything. Some of us, many of us, half of us can be happy with what we have. But, I've always said, but, the ones that do not want to make a change or cannot or not interested, they always have to support the ones that do. And only once that they'll support the women who take a step forward, want to change the world, want the sky to be a limit, want the world to look different. These women, we all must vote for, we must support. And I've never said the sentence, never, that even if a woman was not a good politician, or maybe she was not a perfect feminist, I have never in public said that she was a bad politician or not a feminist, because I knew that there were some people in the audience always sitting and waiting for us to make those statements that I think they're wrong. And not all men are perfect leaders. Not all men are perfect politicians. Not all women are perfect leaders. Not all women are perfect politicians, but the ones that stood up and the ones that went forward and the ones that tried to go through all the obstacles, we should be there for them. So I thank you. For me personally, for Forward Global Women, it was a thrilling event, and I wish you really from the bottom of my heart the best of luck. Don't give up, keep fighting, and we'll be with you.